Throughout this quarter, I will be asking you to use MLA format, so I just wanted to take some time to go over what that is with you. The textbook does have some information about what MLA is, but I think the best resource I can give you is this slideshow that comes from Purdue University. So it gives you the basics of the latest standards that MLA comes up with. It updates every few years, so even though this says 2009, they are the most up to date. So it does give you the general guidelines when you are creating a paper, and I will show you just how to do that in just a minute. So it does give you a brief overview of MLA in general in terms of formatting a paper, and this is what it will look like. And it does headings. So go back to this slideshow, and I do expect you to look at each slide carefully and to get familiar with this so that you can go back to it when you have a question. So one of the biggest parts that you need to pay attention to are in-text citations, and that's when you cite a page number for a direct quote that you're using. So here are some of the basic elements that you need, and then it will give you examples. So this right here is your in-text citation. So make sure you go back and read about how to do them properly, and it'll show you what to do when you have an author and it's a print source. So just like this, when you have the last name in the sentence, you don't need it in the citation, but when you don't have it in the sentence, you do need it in the citation. Okay, so it will go through some more examples of in-text citations. So all of this is for in-text citation. And then it'll show you how to format your quotes, so you make sure that you introduce it in some way. And then right here, you can see that the in-text citation is right before a period, or excuse me, a comma. Usually, you don't want to interrupt a sentence with a citation, but in this case, because there is a comma right there, it's a natural break in the sentence, so you can put the in-text citation right after the quote because of that comma. If you didn't have a comma, it would need to go at the end of the sentence. Just like this one did. Okay. It shows you how to format in case you are inserting words here. You would put brackets around them, or if you're omitting something, you would use an ellipses right there. Let's see here. All right. And then it has the basics for your Works Cited page, which comes at the conclusion of your paper and lists all of the sources that you used. So again, it gives you the basic format for a variety of sources. It'll give you the information that you need and then provide some examples. So there was books, these are periodicals, and then here's the web, and those are probably the three most common that you will use. And then it has some other examples there. So again, this is a great resource for you to use. It's written out very well, and if you need any more help, go to the OWL Purdue website. So it's the Online Writing Lab, OWL, OWL. And I've got links online on Angel to that. So make sure you use this as a source. It's very, very helpful. So right now I'm going to show you how to set up your papers. The first thing that I would suggest doing is making sure that your default font is Times New Roman size 12. Because when you get Word, this is Word 2010, for example, the default is not set at Times New Roman, but is Calibri 11. So what you want to do is click on this little button right there. Then you want to go down to Times New Roman 12. And then this button right here says Set as Default. You want to click that. And then all documents based on the normal template. Click OK. And then your paper will automatically be in Times New Roman 12. The next thing that you need to do is change the spacing. The default spacing for the newer Word programs is normal. You want it to be on no spacing because this will allow you to double space. This will make it about 2.5 spaced. So that's not what you want. You want just 2. So correct that. Then you want to make sure that your margins are correct. You want 1 inch all the way around your paper. So make sure your margins are correct, and then we can go and add a page number. You want it on the top of the page on the right hand side. Then once that pops up, enter your name and then a space. Don't forget about the space. And then again, make sure that your size is Times New Roman or that your font, excuse me, is Times New Roman size 12. And it is. If you did not set your default font as that, it's going to be Calibri 11. So if you don't want to change your default, that's fine. But you need to be aware of this so that you change it. Because I will notice the difference if you don't have it on Times New Roman 12. It's a pretty obvious thing. All right, so close your header, and then your cursor will go back to the 1-inch spot. Then you enter your name, and then at this point you can go Control-2, and that will double space your paper. Then you put my name, which is your instructor, and then you write in English 101, and then the date. There you go. Then you hit enter one more time, center that. That's where you can put your title, hit one more time, and then align it back to the left. And then you're ready to start your paper after you indent once. Oh my goodness. And the one thing I want to tell you about your title, doesn't need underline, doesn't need to be bolded, doesn't need quotation marks. So it's just plain and simple, just like this. Okay. So then, once you get writing your paper, make sure you indent the first line of each paragraph like normal. But as you get done with your paper, you can insert a page break. And if you do that, it will just, as you develop your paper, it's not going to adjust this last page. Center that. Okay. And this then becomes your Works Cited page. So again, the title doesn't need to be bolded or underlined or anything. You're just going to have it plain and simple. Okay, so the first line of this is going to be aligned to the left. You're not going to indent it. And I'm going to show you right now how to make a Works Cited entry using your textbook. So every time you write a paper, you're going to be citing articles and works. So make sure you pay attention to this because I'm about to show you how to do it for the textbook. So last name is the first information you see, and then the first name. So George Orwell, and then we're going on to his article title. Okay, make sure that the punctuation's inside the quotes. And then you need the title of the textbook in italics. Oops, there we go. So the difference between this title and this title is that this is a book. Books are italicized. Articles within a book are in quotation marks. So you can kind of think about it as one title is of a larger volume of work, whereas in quotations, it's a smaller volume of work. So like a song would be in quotations, a CD title would be in italics. That helps you think of it better in those terms. Okay, then you need the edition. Then the editors, okay, and then you need the city in which it was published, a colon, and then the publisher and the year. And with the publisher, you want to make sure that you do as brief of a description as possible. So you could say that this is Wadsworth Cengage Learning, but you want to keep it short and simple, just Wadsworth. Okay, and then you need the page numbers for this exact article so that your reader will know where to find it. And the last thing you want is the medium. So if this were a web page, you would, put all the necessary information for that. And instead of it saying print right here, it would say web. The last thing you need to do is indent the second line because only the first line is aligned on the left. So the easiest way to do this is to put your cursor right at the beginning of the second line, hit enter, and then hit tab. And then you will indent without indenting the first line. This is something that throws students off quite often. I'll show you what happens if you don't do that. Okay, so I've taken away the enter. So if you try to tab it over, that's what's going to happen. So put your cursor there, hit enter once, hit tab, and then because it creates a third line, you need to tab that over again. Okay, and then if you were to have another, there we go, another source, this is what it would look like. okay? And then so on and so forth. So as you develop more and more sources, it's going to be indented just like this. Okay, so pretty much that's how it is. Pretty easy really once you get used to it. So here's a good example for you again. Use the OWL slideshow and then the OWL resources online. They are the most helpful. Very, very helpful. So if you have a question about how to cite something, go there first and then ask me, because if you ask me, I'm probably just going to refer you right back to those sources. So, but as always, if you have any questions, just let me know.